You guys feel a little bit talked down to there? It's interesting because when you get into these kind of videos, you find out that they're almost always insulting you. I mean, they think it's really funny. Let me tell you a story before we get into it. Last year, I went home to Louisville, Kentucky to go to my 50th high school graduation reunion. 50th, okay? And wow, I'm old. I know maybe some of you are older than me, but I feel old. Anyway, and I sat down with an old friend of mine. He was a childhood friend of mine. We went to school together, and we were just sharing what was going on in our lives and talking about what we were doing down here, sharing with the discussion of science and God and speaking in churches. And he said, you've been studying this stuff. I said, yes, I have. I've been reading for about 15 years on that, or 18 years. And he said, well, I could have used you a couple months ago. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, my grandson Charlie, his grandson Charlie, who was going into sophomore year college, grew up in church, and he had a chance to spend some real quality time with him before he went back to college. And they did a lot of things together, and finally, they just started talking about things, and Charlie confessed to Sam, the grandfather, that he didn't know if he believed in God anymore. He was having a really problem with what he'd been taught in church. And and he said, well, what are you studying? He said, I'm majoring in science, and I'm going to be a science teacher. That's what I want to be. And he said, what I'm learning in high school, well, last 2 years of high school, and so far this last year in college, it just looks like science has everything figured out. And I said, what'd you say to him? What'd you say to him, Sam? He said, I didn't know what to say to him. He said, he started talking about this is true and evolution is true, and he kept saying these different things that I had no clue about. And he said, he was really getting visibly upset. And he said, I think I failed my grandson. And he said, well, I'm going to have to start learning about this so that I can at least steer him in the right direction. And this is important because you can steer young people in the right direction because the facts are on your side. And what you just saw was a very close to one-sided argument. What you have in your hands is my refutation of those statements. And I'm going to go over them very briefly so you can see them on our PowerPoint. They say they love me. By the way, Pastor, they have it now 11 through 20. I saw that one. So I might have to work on that a little bit, but whatever. Let's get started on these and we'll see what we find out. All right, first one was carbon dating isn't accurate to date the age of the earth. Well, first of all, no creationist that knows anything about what he's talking about ever claimed that carbon 14 dating tells you how old the earth is. It only goes back about 50,000 years, according to people who believe in carbon dating. So we don't, it's a straw man argument in which he says, creationists think this. Well, creationists don't think that. So his point is gone. But he kind of goes beyond that and starts talking about radiometric dating. These are all these techniques you can find out how much is left in a rock and you can tell how old it is. Well, there's all kinds of assumptions for all those datings that are not scientific. And when I talk to someone in my group, I have a guy say, what about carbon-14 dating? I said, well, do you know what carbon-14 dating is? And he said, yeah, it's just how to tell how old something is. I said, yeah. I said, do you know what the assumptions are? No. I said, well, they assume that carbon-14 in the atmosphere has always been the same from the beginning of the Earth. And that is not scientific. They don't know what carbon-14 level. I don't want to get into it in detail. I'm just telling you, carbon-14 is based on assumptions. And if you start even talking to carbon-14 experts, they can tell you that there's some problem with it. And dating rocks is fraught with all kinds of problems. All right, so that one is not a really good point. He kind of messed up there. You can't prove evolution. They call the Bible is a set of primitive, anonymous documents. Okay? They claim that all living things evolve. They claim that humans share 98% similarities to chimpanzees. On the first point, if you say the story of Christ, the Bible, is a primitive, anonymous document, then you've got to go back and see all these historians who wrote about Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar. They wrote their biographies 400 years after they died. Jesus' life was documented known to be 57 years after he died, as the oldest of the Gospels of Revelation. Okay, so they can say these things to people who are knowledgeable and they just accept them. Second one, to claim that all living things evolve. No creations that ever say things do not evolve. Of course, there's evolution called microevolution within species. So they use that term evolve to try to trick you. They claim that humans share 98% similarities to chimpanzee in their DNA. That's not even, that's what was thought of 20 years ago. In 2005, there was a study by evolutionists that said, no, it's more like 76%, because they found out that people thought was junk DNA is not junk DNA anymore. So what they're saying is they're admitting that we only have 76% similarities in our DNA to chimpanzees. Okay? Why wouldn't there be? We kind of look alike. Same kind of body structure, same kind of, we walk on two, they walk on two legs a lot of time. Why wouldn't our DNA be the same? It's called common design, not common ancestry. All right, so the last one is that, that was the last one, so next one. I'm not changing this ever.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll back up. You're doing it, aren't you? Okay. Okay, if man evolved from monkeys, why do we still have monkeys? Because the story is, if something evolved from something else, something has to go out of existence, has to become extinct. Well, again, we understand, as people who study creationist ideas and things in the Bible, we understand that man did not come from monkeys. It's just a straw man argument again. It doesn't have any facts to back it up. They compare the above question to the question, if America was calling up of Britain, why do we still have Britain? That's not a good analogy, first of all. But nobody that knows anything about our side of the argument is going to argue that they claim they came from monkeys. We don't. We don't think they think that.